Hello again. This time I will take more time. Thank you very much, our partners. My statement is the last one, and then we will have football. My statement is not very much related to business practice, and so I suggest you to relax and switch off your brain. So we would like to show you some video today about our team members. Many of them have joined us recently, some a little bit earlier, but the guys will tell you why they decided to join Dodo Pizza and what they expect and about their work and about their objectives together with our company. Before, I would like to share my own story of Dodo Pizza joining. Possibly it might inspire some to overcome some difficulties. Why I first joined the management company and then became a franchisee and partner and then returned to the management company. Since 2010, when I was 28, that's my birthday party when I was 28. I was dancing on a chair, great life, everything is okay in my life. But at that moment, I already had been, well, for my age, a very successful manager because I already had good experience of management. And for a long time, I've been in charge of electronics store. And I had worked as the deputy of general manager of a bank. And with my friend, who is a partner of Dodo Pizza, we used to have a clothes store, and another friend who was an investor into pizza. We had several cars and a small logistical business. Everything was okay. And then after, there was a period when I worked in a bank, and I combined those businesses, but two of the businesses finished, but I still felt okay and had a good income in the bank. What happened next, working in the bank was, well, it was interesting, but I always wanted something more. And my friend, who is also a partner of Dodo Pizza now, I lived in Syktyvkar and he in Uhta, and he had a business in furniture. And he said, let's open up furniture business in Syktyvkar. I said, okay, agreed, and we started the project, and parallelly I continued working in the bank. And we opened up a showroom and became profitable, and things were okay. But at some point, there still was a question as to choose between them both, either to continue working in the bank or do the business. And of course, I chose the business.
And why this slide on the screen now? Because I realized that I lose my only source of income, and I had some loans on me from previous businesses at the time, and I realized that my only chance is this furniture business, and we should develop it with my friend, that I could live fine and service my loans. A couple of months after, unfortunately, the competition was tough and we underperformed. We failed in developing this business as much as we would like to, and I had to take another loan in order to pay back the previous ones and live on this money. So I didn't have any chances. My only way was to develop this business to make everything fine. So, and it so happened then that due to some conditions, some circumstances, my friend decided to move from the city. So my friend was not ready to continue this business any longer, and I had to choose whether to continue this business or close it down. But it meant fixing the losses because we didn't return the investment. But my choice was tough, and I realized that it is not my business, and my friend had competences in furniture business. I did managerial and financial things mostly. I decided to close down this business because I couldn't run it on my own. So initially I had a situation where everything was fine, but now I do not have any sources of income. I have loans on me, and the question was how should I live? What should I do next? I had to find a job. I realized that my loans are significant, but I have managerial experience, and I thought that I would find a manager's position. I started searching through vacations, through various positions, job search engines, but the positions in the market did not offer me good coverage of my loans and normal life. And the situation got worse because I realized that I do not have anything, I do not have money to repay the debts. But the system is that if you do not pay the debts, they will call your relatives and my parents. My parents are not a wealthy family. They lived their whole life on the north of the country, and they just earned. The only thing they have is an apartment in the mid of Russia. So if my parents receive a call like that, this would be a huge emotional hit for them. They lived in a different city and they didn't know about the situation I was in. And I realized that my parents would do everything for me, and this means that I'm just a fool. In my 28, I created so many problems that my parents will have to do something to help me. I could not afford that. And this situation started to influence me very much. I was depressed. It was a stress and then a depression. It was just a circle. I thought about how I should live on. It was my own hell at the time. I could not believe that in 20 years I would end up in such a catastrophic situation. I looked like a zombie. Yes, I went for training and met my friends, but my first idea every morning was, what should I do? Obviously, I thought that I would go and find work and earn some money, at least some money. And at night I can work as a taxi driver, and I will anyway manage my debts. But I realized that my loans are long-term debts, 5-7 years, and this will be my life for the coming 5 to 7 years. At a point of time, a hint of hope came into my life. Once I came back home, and in my mailbox I saw this leaflet. So I read this leaflet and I was shocked, because my first idea was that this is the right thing to do, to open a Moscow franchise in the city of Syktyvkar. But I was shocked that the delivery would took only 60 minutes. Now it is too long, but in Syktyvkar at that time, 60 minutes for delivery, it was great. And then Dosters, what is it? A miracle. And then sauce for the duff. And I thought that I would open the same thing here in Ukhta. I didn't know where I would get money, but I wanted this. And then I started searching for info on the internet, and I understood that this is not a Moscow franchise, but this guy lives in the same city. He has his own blog. Aleksenkov invited him for his show, and I read his blog, as many of us. An opening of a pizza restaurant in Ukhta just went away from my head. The only thing I wanted to do is to work together with Fedor in this company and develop this project. Thank you. How to start it? I thought that Fedor is so popular and famous, and his blog. Thousands of people probably write him letters saying that we want to work with you. How can I tell him about myself? Well, I was nervous. I tried to prepare. I phoned, but it turned out that this was the wrong phone. I was so nervous. I tried to figure out what to say, but yes, I didn't. I didn't have his phone number, and I thought of two options. I should call to the pizza restaurant, and find out his phone, or go to restaurant and try and wait for Fedor to come out. But he would probably thought that I'm a crazy guy. So I thought of calling him, saying, hello, please give me Ovchennikov Fedor. I want to make him a commercial offer, like cold calls in the bank. And the girl on that side said, "Well, guys, what's his number?" And they just gave me his number in seconds. I was so nervous, but it turned out to be so easy. So I phoned Fedor. I said that I want to meet him, and he said yes. Asked me a couple of questions. Next day we met. I told him everything about my life. Fedor said, "Well, you worked in the bank. Are you ready to go to the kitchen and start everything from scratch?" And I said, "Yes, I'm ready, totally." So in 3 days, 14th of July 2011, the restaurant was just 3 months old, and first, and I received a letter from Fedor. I explained my bad part of life to Fedor. I told him about my loans and debt, and he said, "Well, yes, that's clear. Let's look how it goes in the future." But we realized at that time that we can only have salaries 15,000 rubles each. The rest of money should be reinvested into the restaurant because it has just started at the time, no significant profits. But we decided to wait and see. But how could I live with this money? Couple of weeks before, I took another loan to repay all my previous loans. So I had 5 to 6 months to stay alive, sort of. We started the project. Yes, I went to the kitchen. I washed dishes, learned how to cook pizza, and after a month, I became manager of this restaurant. And we worked quite well with Fedor. I started doing not only operations but other things. But after 5 months, this is our first new year. Kirill Korzhov has a proper haircut here. So 5 years passed. January 2012, 5 months passed. My problem again came out, and unfortunately, no way out of my situation, despite all our hopes. The restaurant started to develop information system. First developers came to us. Their salary was larger than ours, and Fedor had some misunderstanding with his first investor at that time. And he had to return the money that was invested into the restaurant, more than 100,000 every month. So no way out from the situation. Neither Fedor nor me could figure out. And the only thing was bankruptcy, but I didn't thought of it because of my parents. And in one evening, we decided that unfortunately I have to go away from the company and tackle all my problems and then go back. So I went home, and we separated with Fedor that evening. But I do not know what Fedor dreamt of during the night. But the next day he came in with a genius idea. He said that I should open the first pizza restaurant in Uhta, in franchising model, and then solve my problems and then get back. I thought that, yes, it might be complicated, but this is a sign of hope that I can tackle my problems. And I grabbed this idea. And the question was, where could we take the money from? I didn't have any. My indebtedness was very high. I started searching for money. I searched through all my contacts from the bank and outside of the bank, my friends. But the problem was that it was the first Dodo pizza in Syktyvkar at the time. There were no other cases. And yes, this pizza restaurant by New Year, the revenue grew up to 2 million rubles, but it was Syktyvkar 250,000 people, but Ukhta is 100,000 people, 2 times less. And no one knew. Probably Syktyvkar it is just a one-time success, and in Ukhta we will not be successful. So it was unclear. I told everyone about this idea, and I just had to believe it on my own, and then translate this belief to others. I didn't have any other options, actually. I found money. I found money from my close friends. They are here in this room today. Thank you very much, guys. Guys believed in me, and one of them took money from his relatives, and they invested my pizza restaurant. Not only the restaurant, but also they paid out my loans for the period I built my restaurant. It was a crazy thing, and I realized that if I fail, I will make my situation even worse. But I will also let down my friends and create problems for them. So I didn't have any options to fail, and we started construction. As many people said today, I also plan to say thank you. Thank you very much to my wife, Zhenya. Sorry. So she knew about my situation. Well, if I was her, I would break up, I think. But she stayed with me. She helped me with opening my restaurant. It was a challenge. No designers, no one around. I was just drawing with a pen on a sheet of paper. I draw the plan of the restaurant, then send it to Fyodor, and he gave me his feedback. So no metrics, nothing. So you just replicate the success of Syktyvkar. But we did it. After 6 months, in July 2012, we opened the restaurant, and it was the victory, because our revenue during the first full months was 1.3 million rubles. And that was a huge success indeed, because at that point of time I realized that I could pay for my loans, and my own hell I spent more than 1 year has ended. In January 2013, I got back to the management company as we agreed before with Fedor. My story is just one of many cases. Zhenya Timoshenko, who spoke here today, built his restaurant on his own with his hands. He worked as a taxi driver in the evenings to support their families, and he also had to take some of the money they were given for their wedding to construct everything. Pasha Serebkov sold his flat, his apartment, to build the restaurant. Stas Semyonov, who first invested into the management company and then built a restaurant with his own money, and then it turned out that he didn't have any money for buying bread in a grocery. All these stories tell us that if you want it very much, you can find a way out from any situation. You should be very persistent. Thank you very much. That's it. Thank you very much, dear friends. Now, cinema, a video, and then a couple of slides.
Много заказов было, очень много пиццы.
Many orders, many pizzas. The pizzas went out of the oven. Yes, for the first period of time, I wanted to go away. First day I came, the manager told me to prepare 100 dosters. That's huge number. 4 hours or 5 hours it took me to make it. Pizza maker asked me, "What do you do?" I cut tomatoes, and he looks at me and says, "What? These are not tomatoes. These are not. They just have two different terms in Russian," and he mixed them. So that was so cool. I went to Dodo for years and sit at this table. I looked at how the people worked, and I went in, and as if in Harry Potter, I felt so inspired. And the next day, the next morning, I just forgot about my study. I went to work. It's more interesting for me. Characters, I always liked them. Eastern things, I liked them when I was a kid. So I went to study Chinese, and irrespective of the problem, so model. When I was young, I wanted to work in an office, to wear high heels, working down the office, and that's what I have now. I live next to the airport in the Kamchatka Island, and I heard planes flying, and that's why I thought of being air traffic controller when I was a kid, and now I'm studying this trade. I'm still at school. I'm finishing the 11th grade now. Hope that I would finish my school. My specialty is engineer of nanoelectronics. I learned architecture in university. I wanted to be astronaut. My first job was port guard in Novorossiysk. I was 18 years of age. So my position was called shooter. I don't know why. After I turned 18, a week after, I went to Australia and study economics and accounting. I traveled across the country and learned the language. When I was a kid, I didn't want to become an astronaut as other kids did. I wanted to become a football player. I spent much time with my friends in Dodo. I found many friends here. I worked a period of time. I worked in sushi master as a sushi master, but it's a very boring job. It's not about atmosphere of happiness and friendship as we have here in Dodo. It's not like this nice feeling we have here in Dodo. For me, it's my second home. I work here. I communicate, talk to people here. I live here. We really care about what we do. We are doing a wow product indeed. I was shocked a bit when you come into the kitchen and you first should wash your hands before you touch anything. We wash our hands so many times during the day. It was strange for me first. The mission is to make people a bit happier. It's great to see that people are sitting there and they are happy, and it's great to have good feedback. People say goodbye, thank you very much, and this is a very nice feeling. So we make jokes. We like jokes here in Dodo. Before Dodo, I never laughed so much. Obviously, frankly speaking, I got so much warmth here and very nice atmosphere, but I take their lifestyle. So everywhere you come where Dodo is, they will accept you because you have experience. If you want to develop, you have everything here, all resources and assistance to develop yourself and go further. I think that's the case. When if you want it very much, you will succeed. My grandmother and my mother didn't believe in this. They said Moscow is a large city and it'll be hard to overcome all that. You do not have much chances to become manager. So, or lead manager, but one day I worked in the kitchen and my colleague came to me and said, yes, now you're a manager. I was so happy. I started calling my mom and he said, yes, call your mom, and I phoned my mom, said I am a manager now. One of the most important days are the pizza days. A lot of people, a lot of orders, and you have to work hard. You need to make 1,500 pizzas. When you expect a lot of orders, you go to work very inspired, and you know that everything will be cool and time will pass very quickly, and you will perform very good. Sometimes we have a lot of orders, peak hours, and I have just a couple of people in the kitchen and they say, I do not want to work, we're tired. I say, no, we will do it, please do not complain, it's just for a couple of hours, we'll do cool things. So I put the apron and work with them, and everything is fine. It turned out that all corporate events, everyone was eating Dodo pizza. We had a special oven at the time, and for 12 hours I worked with this oven because I was the manager of the shift, and no one could cook better pizza than me. Weekends I spend with my family. I meet friends often. We go for a walk in the city and we ride bikes. I do sports, professional sports, and I have quite high grade in sports. So I learn Chinese. It's a very complicated language and you have to learn the characters. It's quite complicated.
Well, I use my bike to go to the work thanks to this Moscow office. And I'm fond of video games and swimming. It's my hobby, but first of all, my main hobby was doing schedules, and even in my vacation, I usually find 3 to 4 hours to make up a schedule if someone else does it. For instance, we now training a girl to do it. Well, I feel uneasy. Well, my free time, recently we don't have any spare time. We have a lot of work because another pizzeria is opened. And my hobby is sleeping, as all of our colleagues. Mostly I'm sewing, I'm doing some pictures with thread and needle. Well, I know a lot of people from different countries, and I know much more now, and my life is fuller. And I am fond of giving to the pizza and have a dream. I would like to open up my own the pizza and to make up my business. And well, the company is a brand, and other global brands. It would be great for them to. Well, I want the daughter to develop as much. Daughter is a combination of IT technologies and making pizza with a soul. Other pizzerias are obsolete. They are old-fashioned, and they have to retire. Well, our mission is to grab the world and not to manage it all, but to provide our services. So, friends, that's the end of our first day of the Congress. I think it was quite full and cool. So we have to have two events. Well, everybody for football. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win, like last year I did. So we wait for you in the Sokolniki Park. It will start at 6:30. You see the address. Well, the awarding of of partners of managers will happen tomorrow in the Gypsy Club. Please don't be late. I think it's at 7 p.m. And now we will have the last thing is traditional, our mass photo, and we will have a photographer, and he will tell us where to stand. Thank you very much.